Aaron, when was it that you found out about Devontae, and how did you find out?
I mean, I was in the conversation the entire time. Devontae and I have, been close friends over the years, so I was in the conversations with him. We had, many heart-to-hearts, and ultimately, he felt like he wanted to be in Las Vegas and asked me to help him get there. So, in the end, it was, the only option in his mind, and then that's what he wanted.
What was your first reaction when you found out from him that he wanted to be somewhere else?
I love Devontae, so I was obviously disappointed, but not going to stand in his way. As he pursues the next step in his career, not going to change our friendship. And talked to him a bunch. Was trying to actually connect with him in Vegas when I was out there, but yeah, I love Devontae, and I wish him. I truly wish him well. Sometimes you say you wish people well, and you're like, I truly wish Devontae well. I love him like a brother, and I appreciate everything that we accomplished together. Disappointed we couldn't finish together, but absolutely zero animosity, nothing but love for him.
Aaron, why do you want to sign the extension, and how much longer do you want to play?
I think first of all we needed to lower the cap number significantly in order to sign some other players. So that was obviously important. I understand how the deal is portrayed. To me, it feels like a 1 year plus a 2 plus a 1. So there'll be decisions after this year for sure.
Aaron, you obviously don't need these reps. Tom Clemens has said you've done this 1,000 times. Why are you here, though, this weekend?
I'm just here so I won't get fined. No, I miss the guys. I love being around the guys. It's been a nice off season. I appreciate my team back in Southern California and the work we put in, but it's good to be back out here with the guys and get to meet Christian and Romeo and get reacclimated with some of the older guys. It's just about timing and them feeling the cadence and the urgency and stuff, and just nice to be back in the building with these people. And they've been great about me taking care of myself the way I best need to. Obviously, it's worked out the last couple of years by my play, and I expect nothing less.
I know it's early, but first impressions of Watson and those rookie guys.
Yeah, it's early. I'm not gonna make a lot of impression statements about them. But the most important thing is the mental part right now. As much as there's conversation around the importance of me being here and how much that means to the young guys. The most important thing for the young guys right now is to learn the offense. And like I've said many times, there's two offenses. There's the offense on paper, then there's the offense that gets run on the field. So they need to learn the offense on paper first, and once they get that down, then we'll have plenty of time in training camp to get the other offense down.
Will you hang out through the next block of OTAs, or is it minicamp and then?
Yes, minicamp, and then I'm out.
Is there anything that before training camp, other than training camp, that you can do to accelerate your chemistry with those rookie guys, or is training camp going to be enough for that?
I mean, I think a lot of times those are just story fillers for slow times in the off season. There's important conversations to be had, but it comes down to the willingness of those players to motivate themselves, to be good note takers, to listen, to remember things. And it's on me to make sure the message is very clear and concise to them when it's delivered. But Jason has to be an extension of me and my voice in their room. But we got, my closest buddy on the team with those guys every single day, Randall Cobb. And he's been here the entire time just about. So he's passing along everything they need to know about playing with me and expectations and signals and unspoken communication and nonverbal stuff. And they just got to feel me once, we get back for training camp and it gets real. There'll be expectations for them, but reasonable expectations. We're not going to expect those guys to be anything other than the best versions of themselves. And obviously with how high we pick Christian, there'll be expectations, but we just need him to be the best version of himself and Romeo. And I'm excited about Sammy. Made some plays, today. It's good to see him out there. He looks the part. We'll get Allen back and Randall. We got three solid right there, and there's a lot of competition behind those guys.
How involved were you in getting Sammy and the recruit? How involved were you in the recruitment of getting Sammy here, and why was that important?
I FaceTimed him when he signed his contract. I knew that he was somebody we had targeted and we were interested in, and I was 100% on board with that. I think it's important. You get guys who have a lot to play for, and I think Sammy has the opportunity to continue and travel down a new path in his career, that we can help him here, as he continues to improve and gets opportunities. The most important thing for receivers and pass catchers and ball carriers is opportunities. And there's definitely going to be opportunities for him to make plays for us in this offense. I love the disposition. I really enjoy the person. And I think he has, everything right in front of him to have as productive a year as he wants to.
Aaron, you admitted recently you think about retirement. It's only natural after all this time, but how do you get yourself mentally prepared? What in your mind clicks to say, yeah, I'm good?
Good with what?
Good with playing, good
Oh,
with
when I made
continuing
it,
on.
in March, when I made the decision, that's 100% in. But it doesn't mean you don't think about the other side. This is my 18th season. Of course you think about the next chapter and what's next in your life all the time. Doesn't mean you're not fully invested. When I sit on back, I'm 100% invested. Matt and I keep in touch all the time, and Tom and the young quarterbacks. And, when I'm here, I'm all in. And those guys know that. They know what to expect from me, the type of play, the type of leadership, and that's what they're going to get.
Aaron, have you talked to Allen? And when you look at your wide receiver room, you talked about opportunities. How excited are you about the potential that group has this season?
I like production over potential. We have some production. We have a lot of potential. So we need to temper expectations and heighten the accountability. I think that's the most important thing with those guys. There's guys who've done some things in the league, and there's guys that haven't. They're going to get opportunities. So reasonable expectations for those guys, and then high expectations and accountability for the entire room. Excited about Randall. We played a lot of football together. Excited about Sammy. Excited about Alan Lazard. He's been our dirty work guy for most of his career here. Now he's getting an opportunity to be a number one receiver. So I'm not worried about him at all stepping in that role. I've talked to him a lot. I know how he takes care of his body, and I know he'll be ready when he's here.
You talk about things on the other side of your career. You're a two-time reigning MVP. You're at the top of your game right now. What are those things that you're expecting, or either you're considering or weighing, that expect you to make another decision on whether or not you're retired here?
I think it's not really those things. It's more just how I'm feeling mentally. The playing is easy. That's the easy part. It's the other part that's the grind. You wear a lot of hats as a quarterback, and it's more than just playing on Sundays. And I think at some point, the grind gets to all of us. And every year, it seems like a slightly bigger commitment to commit to being the guy again in another season. And it just comes down to where I'm at. Obviously, I want the team to be successful. Obviously, I don't want to be a bum, standing back there playing like crap and not able to move around. So if the talent goes, it's a no-brainer. But it's a little harder when you still can really play, and the mental part is difficult. I
know you work out obviously when you're not here, but is this a format, being here for the mandatory minicamp, then at training camp, that you think is tenable for you, in terms of that grind, being able to continue further?
It's nice for me just because my situation out west is so great with my body work and my workouts, and ability to have the convenience and also the specific one-on-one attention that I get out there. It just feels like it puts me in the best situation. Obviously, quality of life, being able to spend time where I'm at out there during this time helps me to declutter my mind. I think that's the biggest grind the last few off seasons that I've been pretty healthy, is just mentally being able to recenter and to refocus and to clear all the energy from the past season in order to start fresh. And every year it's a process to do that. And it's been a nice offseason this year to get to this point where I feel, really focused and really clear mentally, being able to come back here and lead the way I want to lead.
With Devontae gone, does the offense change?
Well, I think the way that we've played in his absence in the last, 7 games or so over the last 3 years, it has been different. Obviously, Aaron Jones has had more opportunities, I think, in those games. Now that we have a really incredibly complimentary second back, we can get both those guys involved in the passing game. We look for a bounce back year from Bobby, when he's healthy. Tyler Davis is, I think set for him and DeGuara set to really make a push for some reps at tight end as well. But yeah, the offense has to change. Last year, when you have a guy who's that talented it's probably not an exaggeration to say that 80% of the plays in the passing game were designed specifically for 17. So we're obviously going to do some things a little differently.
When you missed minicamp last year, a lot of us speculated on the shakiness of your relationship with the franchise. Is it safe to say that you're on sturdier ground this year with upper management?
Look, some conversations had to be had, and I'm happy they were had, and I appreciated the honesty. There were some very direct conversations, and I haven't really shied away from conflict during my time here because I feel like it leads to a resolution that's usually positive for the organization and for everybody involved. And I'm not saying it was hand-to-hand conflict or combat. It was some real serious heart-to-hearts. And as someone who loves this franchise so much, I felt like it was important to share my opinions about certain things and my vision for how this place can continue to improve and get better long after I'm done. And I give Mark and Brian and Russ a lot of credit for that time and those conversations. And the relationships changed, for sure. I mean, it really did. I saw some really positive things with everybody involved. It wasn't like this, in a relationship and your partner's telling you that you're the cause of all the problems. That wasn't what I was doing. There was a lot of issues and potential solutions, and I'm very proud to be a part of the solution. And those three especially were a big part of the solution as well.
So do you think you'll finish your career here?
Yes, definitely.
That said, have you enjoyed this offseason more than a year ago yourself personally?
I mean, last season Hawaii was pretty nice. I've enjoyed this offseason for sure. It's been some ups and downs. Obviously, the Devontae news was difficult, but I've enjoyed the conversations. Losing a guy like Hackett who was so close, and J.O. and Getsy, that's always different. But to come back to the room the first day I did, over a month ago or whatever it was, and seeing Tom Clements, that kind of made everything okay.
What do you think of all the moves you guys have made on defense the past couple months?
I think our defense is going to be tough. I think that it was nice, the draft. The kids from Georgia, obviously watching a lot of college football. You knew that defense was pretty damn good. So adding those kids is going to help. Bringing back Rasul, I thought was a big piece for us. Excited about that. So defensively, there'll be high expectations. Year 3 with Joe. The biggest jump that I think we all hope for is teams. And Rich is a interesting personality for sure, but I think he's going to bring a lot to our special teams, and excited about watching those guys work.
Aaron, were you all taken aback when Devontae decided that you wanted out, considering how good your chemistry was on the field and all that?
That's a tough question. Yes and no, I think. We had some really honest conversations about my future here and how long I wanted to play, and his own thoughts about his future and where he wanted to play and live and raise his family. And, the team obviously stepped up and wanted to and made a competitive or an even more compelling offer. Ultimately, Devontae thought it was best for him and his family to be in Vegas. So that was tough for sure. But like I said, I love Tay and love our connection. I'm a little biased, but it's hard to think of a better player I've played with. He had the chance to be all-time record holder in a lot of categories at receiver for us. I thought that might be a little nugget that would kind of keep him here, but again, Tay made a decision that he thought was in the best interest of him and his family, and I can't fault him for that at all.
Did you have to go into recruiting pitch when you found out from him?
I mean, not really, Ryan, just because we were talking almost every single day. So it wasn't like that. If I feel like I need to recruit a guy like that back to the Packers, I've already lost. So it was just deep conversations, man to man, friend to friend, brother to brother, about where he was at mentally and what he thought about his future moving forward. And again, I can't fault him. I asked him at the end, I said, what can I do for you? And he said he wanted to go to Vegas. So That's all right.
Aaron, when you said, I think you said earlier he asked for help in getting there, is that more your blessing to say all good, or to have those conversations with the front office at your understanding of his position?
Well, I think if you understand how the business works, he didn't necessarily have a ton of leverage. You know, you put the franchise tag on somebody, and that kind of locks him in at a number, and he could obviously sit out and not play, and that could get really ugly. But you know, ultimately, his incredible value that he had, you know, gave us a couple picks, and that's ultimately what he, you know, what he wanted was to be in Vegas and to kind of start the next chapter of his career. So, look, man, I'm not going to stand in the way of that. I love him. It's really friggin' hard, for sure. But when you love somebody and you care about somebody like that, ultimately you want them to be happy. And he felt like, I think he was going to be happier in Vegas with him and his family, being close to the family on the West Coast. And I wasn't going to stand in the way of that. And the team, you know, was going to do, I think, what was best in that situation, and ultimately it was best to make a trade.
There's a lot of talk about the skilled players being different, the pass catchers, but it's a lot of questions on the offensive line too. How much are you kind of gauging, and how much can you gauge this time of year without pads, what you've got up there, and just kind of paying attention to that?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, because you put the pads on, it changes everything. I think about the last 3 playoff games, we've played with 3 veteran right tackles who didn't play a lot during the season, and Jared and Rick and Dennis last year. Yash played a bunch last year, and there were times at camp where you guys maybe or maybe not had him on the roster. So it's harder without pads on, but you know, I think it looks pretty good right now. You put 69 and Elton back, that's a real good offensive line, I think. So we feel good about it. You know, Royce looks heavier. He might not look the same, you know, coming out of the shower to his girlfriend as he did last year. I feel like his belly got a little bigger, but that might make him a better right guard. And he played a ton of football for us. We got some young kids in the mix too. But I like where the line's at. They're very well coached. Now our offensive line coach from last year is offensive coordinator. So every time you look at the line during training camp, you're thinking, you know, who's going to be the 5? Who's going to be the 10? And then you get in the season and you got guys playing you may not expect them to play well, and they're out there balling. So I don't really worry about that group over the years. They've been coached so well, and they've played pretty damn well over the years too. So, but you know, if we get 69 back and Elton back, that's a pretty damn good line, I think.
Aaron, you said 2 more. You said you're definitely finishing your career in Green Bay.
Well, unless they trade me this year, next year.
But with regard to your final decision on playing, is that a decision you can only really make after the season is over, or do you see yourself at some point saying, I'm going 1 more year and then I'm done?
I would never say that publicly. Yeah, I've never been one to want some sort of going away season or anything like that. And plus, I don't think it's fair to the mental state at the end of the season and thinking how you feel. If you say I'm for sure playing 2 more or 3 more years, and then you have a magical season and end with a championship and think that might be the best way to write off. You know, I don't want to commit to something. You say I'm only playing 1 more year, and you have a bitter taste in your mouth and still got the drive and the passion to play 1 or 2 more years. I just don't want to get pigeonholed into it. So I'm focused on this season. I'm never going to drag it out in the off season. The conversations I've had with Brian have been very honest and direct, and that's not going to change. And we'll sit down after the season and hopefully after a championship and figure out what the next step is.
How keenly aware are you of 69's left knee this offseason? Are you checking in and kind of staying up to date with how he's doing?
Oh, yeah. I see him just about every day. He was out in Los Angeles, and he's been working really hard. Hopefully training camp he's full go, good to go. But I know he's been working hard and you know, itching to get back out there.